Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Let me just reduce this. I had to do a quick update this morning, and I felt like it's important that I start with that. Else, the whole day is just gonna be over with nothing to show for it. So this is what it is. There's a new theory that is circulating around the internet that I want us to actually listen to. If you all know this guy, NWOKO, we can know that he's the unofficial. Let me just pause for now. He's the unofficial spokesman of the Tinubu administration, and he's been struggling after he went for, I would say, a tour, and also after the invitation of Mike Arnold. Now, Mike Arnold is someone that has developed an interest in the Nigerian, I would say, ethno crisis or religious crisis space, and it's been around for a while. He's had so many trips to all of the, some of the IDP centers. He's written vastly about what's been happening with terrorism in Nigeria and all of those. So Reno thought that it's going to be good if he can bring this guy in to come and convince the Nigerian people that there is no Christian genocide in Nigeria. Unfortunately, whatever happens, it didn't actually envisage the outcome, because from there, it was just more of a negative PR. I think that's one of the reasons why Tinubu has actually not called him to join his government, because you can't really tell where this guy is. He speaks from both sides of the mouth. He has not been consistent over time. He plays games with whichever power in government, except the Buhari's government, because he was really, I think they tried to persecute him, so he took that as a personal vendetta and wanted to go after the Nigerian government. Now, this is NWOKO trying to insinuate that Peter Obi was the primary cause of the issues that Nigeria is facing right now with respect to America. Let's listen.
Went to the United States. From the United States, he was at the DC. Now, don't forget, this is a man, I've been with him, I took him. He wasn't invited. I was invited with President Jonathan, so he hung along. We took him. And I remember what he said then. I know the kinds of things he said against Islam and against the North. And if he denies these things, I'll bring evidence.
Okay.
But here's the thing. He went to DC from the 23rd of September to the 25th. All of these Christian genocides began on the 26th. Is that a coincidence? I mean, we are not fools. It cannot be a coincidence that he...
So he's trying to correlate causation, okay, with correlation. The fact that Obi went to a place and then following after his visit to that place, then there was a trigger. Now, I don't think he has any evidence to back that up, that Obi connived with the United States, with the United States Congress, because that's where it all started before it got to Trump. There's no evidence that he has that Obi actually went to the United States to tell the US to intervene, and by implication Trump to intervene in the crisis that is happening in Nigeria as of today.
He went on a tour to DC, and then a day after he left, all of this Christian genocide happened. And then just 2 days ago, he insulted Nigeria in a post on social media. Some of you might have seen this. He called Nigeria a now disgraced country, quoting President Trump. Again,
when I responded to that stuff that Peter Obi wrote, I was clear that he shouldn't have written that. And I can say that, okay, and I wouldn't, okay, but I can say that. I can say, Nigeria is, an SO country or a disgraced country. And the reason why I can say that is, I just talk stuff, right? But he is someone that I believe in his mind, he still wants to serve the country or probably rule the country. For him to have used that kind of a phrase for a country that he seeks to serve, even if things are bad, I think it should have actually shown that it can be better than this. But when he now put disgraced country in quote, echoing the thought of someone that we all know in his past tries to ridicule African leaders, and maybe rightly so, maybe because they've not actually proven themselves, but you shouldn't be the one doing that.
We know where this is coming from in Nigeria. We're not fools. We know where it's coming from in Nigeria. And if Peter, I mean, Peter Obi's political career is dead. And
that one I can assure you for sure. His career is dead. His career is dead, 100%.
Any northern candidate that thinks that they want to take him as a vice presidential candidate, I mean, they're going to have a rethink. I was talking to one of them on the phone. I'm not going to reveal his name. I said, look, you see what's happening in Arewa, go on all of the Arewa forums. And all of them, they know what he's done. And you want to take him as a vice presidential candidate. And we've got to remember what Lord Raglan said. If you can go back to the Hansard, we have to remember what Lord Raglan said. Because a critical mass of our people are still like this. He said, the African native is a slave to the social and religious system of his tribe. This was said in 1925. What year are we? 2025, 100 years later. Now, today and yesterday, I've been fighting a war on social media because some Christians have been calling for the arrest of Sheikh Gumi. Sheikh Gumi has served Nigeria. He was a soldier. He's a medical doctor. Sheikh Gumi, now, not just that he's a soldier and medical doctor, his own son is in the army.
Okay.
Sheikh Gumi is Fulani, and because of his Hippocratic oath, because I didn't understand all of this before. I did not know the man. I even called for his arrest. I did not even like him. And then, because that's one thing about me, I'm a fact-driven person. I went and researched him. He wanted the bloodshed from these bandits to end. And so he began meeting them, asking them these questions. That documentary, you saw the BBC documentary, he talked about some of his techniques. And then he heard what their complaints, and then he began to say, okay, let us have a negotiation with these people. Give them development so that they can stop these killings.
Hello, that doesn't make sense. That does not make sense. Like I'm so disappointed in some of this perspective. Quite frankly, give wood development. The fact that a terrorist goes to meet Sheikh Gumi and tells him that's what he wants, that doesn't give the terrorist a right to unalive another human being, because the other person you're trying to unalive is also facing that same problem. So except we are naive and we just don't want to face the problem. There's a problem of terrorism in Nigeria. It's been like that for almost 15 years, more than 15 years actually. Before terrorism went full-blown, there has been instances where people have been killed. Before terrorism, there's been religious crisis. You're not talking about those, you're talking about people that you're talking about giving them infrastructure development, giving them what they need to survive. Hello? So how come we see all those helicopters? How come we see all those strong armored vehicles in all those thick forests that wouldn't have gotten there by just an average poor person? What are you talking about? I mean, this is quite disappointing. No wonder this guy served under Jonathan's government, and Jonathan was not able to even solve the problem with terrorism. Let me just reduce this. It's quite shameful.
And a pastor, he calls himself Prophet El Buba. Prophet El Buba called for his arrest. Now, what is bad in what Sheikh Gumi said?
I'm not calling for his arrest, but I'm calling that they investigate him to really know what he knows. And if he's culpable, then that's fine. Because there is no justification for you taking the life of another person in the name of your poor or your religion or whatever it is. So again, I know that you're trying to curry favors with the Tinubu's government, but you're missing the point here. These people are not people that are suffering from poverty.
That we should negotiate with these bandits get them to drop their arms in return for development. What's bad in that?
And have they dropped their arms? Like, is the lack of development a problem for the other people that they're killing? If they have an issue with lack of development, then why are they killing other Christians? Why are they killing mostly Christians at first, and then they move over to Muslims when the Christians are no longer there?
I think, was it last week, Al-Shara was in the White House with Trump, right? We saw them, like, in fact, I was wondering what was happening there. It's like, is this a bromance? We saw them like patting each other, touching each other suggestively. But guess what? Al-Shara was a former, not just an Al-Qaeda commander, he was a top Al-Qaeda commander. Al-Shara killed Christians. Are you aware of that? Al-Shara, he's a man with a lot of blood on his hands.
Okay.
What happens? We saw an intelligence officer of a Western country. I'm not going to mention that country. I might be in that country now, but I'm not going to mention that country. The man said he was sent by his government to convince Al-Shara to drop his weapons and his arms and take politics as a way of achieving his goals. What is Shegumi saying? Is that not the same thing Shegumi is saying? That drop your arms, negotiate with the government, you want schools, you want hospitals, right? Then you stop it. It's because you've been killing, you've not achieved that. And then Prophet Buba says he should be arrested. Now, I'm going to show you a video. Let's go to the Peter Obi video, the one for politics today. Now, let's watch that. This one? Yeah, that one. Yeah, that one. Here he goes. Technology is a blessing on the cause. I think it's on mute actually. I saw mute over there.
Okay. I don't know what's happening here.
Okay, good. No, start from the beginning. Start from the beginning.
Okay, I'm gonna follow this thing because it's not just coming up.
Them, and he said a number of good things about them. But here's the thing: IPOB has been declared a terrorist organization by the Nigerian government. Not only that, Amnesty International and a number of other groups have accused them of being responsible for killings.
Okay.
In Finland, some of their publicly acknowledged leaders have been convicted for terrorism-related offenses. And next week, the overall leader of IPOB is going to face judgment at the Nigerian court for a terrorism-related offense. And here you have Peter Obi defending them. Now, I'm not going to stand here and tell you how many people they are believed to have been killed. You can research that on your own. But yes, Peter Obi defending them. Now, let's go to the video of the campaign. The video of the campaign. Yes. Now, in case you didn't hear that, that is the same prophet El Buba who called for the arrest of Sheikh Gumi for advocating for negotiation with bandits. That's the same guy. What is he doing there? He was campaigning for Peter Obi and saying that Northern Nigeria and the Middle Belt should vote for Peter Obi. And behind him, if you had seen on that video, was Peter Obi. Now, you're saying that Shegumi should be arrested because he called for a negotiation with bandits.
Okay.
Meanwhile, you are campaigning for a man who defended IPOB, a group that have been declared as terrorists in Nigeria and out of Nigeria. Now, I mean, how does that sound? So you go back to what Lord Laragna said, that the African native is unable to rise above his society and his religion. Now, it's not as severe as it was 100 years ago, but it's still there.
Yeah, but again, you know, Reno is missing the point here. Is really missing the point. The question is this: if this guy campaigned for Obi, okay, that's fine. That's within his right. If he's calling for the arrest of someone, that might be based on the information that he has, because this person you're talking about also resides in the north. So instead of you coming out to say that, you know, why is he doing that, given the fact that he did campaign for this other person, I think the question should be, what evidence does he have? And that's the problem that people have with this guy, because it just comes out to just follow an agenda and doesn't care if some of those facts are true or not.
Now, let's go to the other clip of Peter Obi at the church. No, not this one. No, not this, not this. Is it clip? Okay, so the short one.
I mean, the whole presentation is even half sad. It's not well, you know, thought out. It's not well lined up. I don't even know who he's presenting to, how they are even accepting some of his premise and all that. But it is what it is.
I can tell you what it says. It's a short one. Okay, so that's Peter Obi in a church saying, church, take back your country. Now let me ask you a question. If Waziri Atiku Abubakar went to the central mosque in Kano and said, Mutanedarewa, Musulumi, take back your country, what will the southern press do in Nigeria? Be honest. What will the southern press? You're a southerner. I'm asking you a question. What will the southern press do?
They would say he's instigating.
Nigeria will be on fire.
Yeah, I agree. I when Peter Obi said that, and also the infamous recording that he did where he called the bishop allegedly, saying that they're trying to bring in a religious war. I think those two stuffs were not done in good faith. Yeah, they were not done in good faith, and that recording itself, the one to Yes Daddy video, is very, very viral in Nigeria, might be one of the things that would end up destroying his politics. And if it hasn't done so, apart from the fact that he still has a lot to catch up to with respect to his execution, his operations, his political party, his influence, him being more strategic, that's part of the things that would impact him.
You see, in Nigeria, there is a mismatch between the power that the media has. In the north, the northerners don't have that much media power, as much as the southerners. And that's why in journalism school, they tell you that if a dog bites a man, it's not news. But if a man bites a dog, it's news. So what's happening is that every time that you have cases of northerners attacking or Muslims attacking Christians, it makes the news. But when it's a case the other way around, or when you have incidents like this, it doesn't make the news. Why? Because that's a case of a man, of a dog biting a man. It's what they consider as normal. So here's the thing. If we as a people can transcend our religion, can transcend our tribes, can transcend our region, can transcend our ethnicity, and look at the situation in Nigeria, impassionately, objectively, together, Nigerians can find a solution to the problems.
So what have the leaders been doing all this while? What has been happening? Because you're saying that they need to find a solution to the whole problem. But again, you're not talking about how years after years after years, this same set of people have not been able to find a solution to the problem and to the whole thing that is inflicting the nation as a whole. And there's been no direction. Like, one of the questions I asked the current administration, Tinubu and the other likes, surrounding him is this: where is your path? We saw the plan for the economy. We saw the strategy. We saw things that has been done. Now, you may not give them a pass mark, but at least there was an agenda. There were some things happening. There were, systematic, decisions that were being made. In security, the only thing that I've seen is changing of the service chief after a long while. So the question that I ask is this: what's the way forward?
Nigeria is facing. And with that, I come to the end of my speech. Thank you.
Okay, be that as it may, I don't know. I don't appreciate this narrative. Politics aside, let's deal with the ethnic cleansing in Nigeria. Government has not been able to tackle insecurity for the past 20 years. Exactly. Don't let us politicize everything. Okay, happening in Nigeria, citizens have been chased out of their ancestral homeland and many are living in IDP camps in the same country. When I took time to listen to your speech, with all due respect, this narrative is not accurate. Independent monitors like ACLD and Open have consistently documented. It's all there. Go get the papers, go read it, and maybe give yourself some education. Another thing is this: you are not the one receiving the fires. You are not the one having your family butchered to death, unalived, in their sleep. You're not the one living in the northern part of the country, in the far north, or even in the central north, where they have all this problem. Okay, how did we move from diplomatic engagement to a WIKE claim that he triggered a Christian genocide narrative? Exactly. He was not the one. Peter Obi, as much as I'm not his fan, I can boldly say that his visit to the US has nothing to do with Trump's proclamation or Trump's instruction or Trump's tweets. But for you to want to kind of, make it a Peter Obi thing, then that's where I disagree with you. And I don't think that would stand. Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of it. When it comes to NNPP and its politics in the north, it seems that APC has been able to successfully get NNPP on its side. And it's quite interesting to watch what's happening. Kwankwaso is the major person that has kept the NNPP alive. But the party is now saying that, it was a mistake that we allowed the Kwankwasia movement, which is the movement of those that are loyal to Kwankwaso, to come into NNPP because they've hijacked the party. Now, the party itself, I don't even know what they want to say. Let me just listen to this.
To let you know about the leadership crisis that have been bedeviling our dear party, New Nigeria People's Party. It is highly unfortunate that New Nigeria People's Party, who God, through the founder of this party led by Dr. ANAMBRA, was so magnanimous enough to give the ticket of our party to Dr. Rabi Musa Kwankwaso few months to 2023 presidential election. However, we are here to tell the new sheriff in town in Hinek, Professor Joas Amupito, not to fall into the shenanigans and trick of a manipulator, a political manipulator,
okay,
called Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso. To all Nigeria, I'm here to say it boldly that Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso is not the founder of NNPP.
Oh.
Neither is he one of the founding father.
Oh.
He came to join us.
The only reason I know of NNPP is because of Kwankwaso. What about that? The only reason why this party is just like saying that Peter Obi is not the founder of LP. The only reason why LP has gotten this national status that he has today is because of Peter Obi. And that's the problem. Even the same thing with ADC, even though I know ADC's story is quite different, it was also hijacked. How come all of the opposition parties in Nigeria are all hijacked? ADC, the last presidential candidate, said, I'm not even aware of all this coalition. That's ADC. So what are we talking about?
Less than 3 years ago. And his joining the party is more of a curse than blessing.
Wow.
Because I've never seen it in life where a tenant will want to take over the whole property.
This is the old story of the Labour Party. There's a whole story. How the politicians that seem to have the clout get into a party that nobody knows anything about, get into the party, gives it some life, and then the person coming into the party and the legacy members can come together to work on something that would benefit everybody, or that would form a very good, opposition. That's where we are today.
So it is on this note that we are lacking Independent National Electoral Commission under Professor Joas Amupito.
Okay.
Not to fall to the antics of the hijacker called Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso.
Wow.
And his team of...
And you know the reason why this is? Because there's now the news around saying that Rabiu Kwankwaso is trying to work with the APC and possibly might be defecting to the APC. You know what? Because the fight is now, politicians, they don't just think about the next election, they think about the next 2 elections. How far can they wait? And there's an opening now in the north. Once Tinubu is gone, whoever wants to take charge needs to start strategizing right now. That's why I just laugh when I see people talk about 2027, they're talking about a coalition, and they're talking about Peter Obi, Atiku, we step down for each other, and we're already in 2026. I mean, it's quite ridiculous that these guys, who I thought should know even more about politics, are just missing the mark and dropping the ball, serially.
Konkasia, led by Dr. Ajuji and Dipo Olayoko. It came to our notice that these 2 interlopers, by the judgment of Federal Capital Territory of the 3rd of April 2025, Ajuji, Olayoku and Co. lost the case in which they were plaintiff, and they were in that court representing Kwankwaso to challenge the Fali congresses and convention initiated by the leadership of our founder, Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aneboda. We all know by the Supreme Court judgment that every political party has the right to produce their leaders. It is an extreme right of every political party to nominate and to bring into forth anybody that they think is going to lead them. To be precise, December 2024, so January 2025, the new Nigeria People's Party wrote to INEC to notify the Independent National Electoral Commission that we shall be going for a convention and congresses. But in the wisdom of Mr. Ijaka called Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, he rushed to Federal Capital Territory High Court to secure an injunction to stop us from conducting a valid Congress and convention. The leadership of the Nigeria People's Party under Dr. Boniface Okechukwu Aneboda quickly instructed me to write a letter of protest to the Chief Judge of Federal Capital Territory that the judge that gave that kind of injunction did it by standing logic on the head, because no court has the right to stop a valid convention of any political party.
Okay.
But as a law,
I mean, at the end of the day, as the time moves on and you reflect and you think back at what happened with APC and how they've been able to be this big behemoth party today that is very difficult to stop, you got to understand the work that Asiwaju himself did in making sure that that party stands. That party on a normal day, few years into Buhari's presidency, that party should have been destroyed. Because there was a power tussle between the Buhari's camp, the Tinubu's camp, and the new PDP camp. And this is where it becomes important for you to understand how to be a leader. Because all these small parties are even worse in terms of leadership tussle than the new parties.
Abiding political party. We tarried a little. We make sure we were represented in court, and I personally, as the Secretary General of this party, High Comrade of Dino Laposi, was in court from December 16 to April the 3rd of 2025. Mm-hmm. And by the special grace of God, there was a landmark judgment by His Lordship, Honorable Justice Azan, who dismissed the case of the Kwankwaso-led Ajuji and Olayoku leadership, saying that they have no power to stop the Nigeria People's Party from conducting a valid Congress and convention. Mm-hmm. Having said that, it is unfortunate that INEC, under the leadership of the past chairman, Mahmoud, was reluctant in making sure that the new list of the national officers of the Nigeria People's Party came on board on INEC server. We try as much as possible.
Well, this is a long story. I don't even know
Our lawyer
what
wrote
it's
series
talking
of
about.
letters
Okay,
to
back and forth and all that.
We
Let me
have
just move forward.
Abu Gilbert Major emerged as the national chairman. Letter.
Okay.
Through my humble self and our lawyer.
Okay.
To Independent National Electoral Commission to disregard any letter.
Okay, so there are two factions. Invariably, there are two factions. It's quite bad. Two more factions. We don't need any more factions in all these small political parties that don't even have a governorship governorship position in the country.
Notice of congresses or convention. Fresh notice.
Okay. I don't think I need to listen to this guy anymore. I mean, I don't know if he's been able to convince you, but this is just the timeline. Okay? This is the timeline. This is what is happening. There's a crisis in the NNPP, Kwankwaso connection, or whatever you want to call it. They've been engulfed in a protracted leadership battle since the mid-2023. That was after the election, between the founder. So there's a founder, Dr. Boniface, against the camp loyal to the former presidential candidate, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso. They started in a 2022 memorandum of understanding that brought Kwankwaso, the Kwankwasia movement, into the party. So they needed a movement, just like the Obidient movement Kwankwaso also needed a place where he can further his political career. So this was what happened. In 2022, there was a memorandum of understanding. So more like an SPV. Now that expired after the 2023 elections. Now the conflict involves mutual explosion claims, court ruling favoring this Boniface, which is the founder. So there's always the advantage that whoever started the party or those that have been in the party before the newcomer comes in, they always have some level of advantage. That's the advantage that this guy is the current, I don't even know if it's the current Labour Party chairman, Abure. That's the advantage that he had over Obi. And Obi was not equipped enough to handle that crisis. And that's why everything just went into flames. So 2022, there was an MOU signed. I said that already. 2023, Kwankwaso faction suspends the person that founded the party. Kwankwaso loyalists suspended NNPP founder and the board of trustee member, accusing them of creating parallel structure. They extend acting chairman Abakawu's tenure and redesigns the party logo to a red, white, red. How do you even freaking have a red, white, red design with a book and a cap? But that's crazy. That's really crazy. Let me see if I can get that. That's crazy. Wow. Look at it here. I don't know if you can see that. This is a new logo. Whatever this means. Anyways, let's move on. So they did a new logo, they did a changing, they sacked the person that founded the party. That's why these parties are very useless. April 18, 2024, the Federal High Court ruled against Kwankwaso's faction. That's the interloper, according to what this guy was saying. Abuja Court declares Kwankwaso group impostor and expelled, barring them from parading as NNPP leaders or suing in the party's name. These are farms the Boniface legitimacy, but is contested by Kwankwaso's side. November 1, 2024, a year ago, Abia State reinstates the Boniface BOT. So now the person that founded the party was now given due recognition. November 4, Kano rifts deepen. The governor who won on NNPP's mandate, okay, snubs Kwankwaso, and Kwankwaso is a big wig in the north. Kwankwaso, in my own opinion, I think when you take Buhari, the next person in terms of politics, you're going to take Kwankwaso, and then maybe you take other people. You're even going to take Kwankwaso above Atiku when it comes to cult-like following. What worked for Atiku in the 2023 election was just the PDP. Now, let's move on. November 9, 2024, Kwankwaso condemned the Abia visit. Okay? Now, when that happened, Kwankwaso was condemned for the Abia visits. A neighbor faction labeled Kwankwaso meeting with Governor Alex Otti a deceptive ploy tied to Abia ruling. They accuse him of hypocrisy and hijacking the party since 2022. November to December 2024, Boniface faction holds congresses, what to zonal congresses, defying Kwankwaso's attempt to block. So Kwankwaso went to court to block that meeting or that Congress, but that didn't succeed. January 16, 2025, this year, that was where it all went down. The FCT now says, okay, Kwankwaso, we recognize your... Sorry, it didn't go down. I misspoke. FCT High Court restrains the Kwankwaso faction. So the court bars Kwankwaso allies from NNPP activity, reinforcing prior ruling. The Boniface faction advises Governor Yusuf to dissociate from Kwankwaso amid logo dispute and Emirate crisis fallout. That's the issue with Sanusi Lamido Sanusi. Now, ongoing congresses and INEC delay. You have all that. And then February 4, 2025, see what happened? The Boniface faction now had a convention in Lagos, elected Dr. Agbo as the national chairman, formally expels Kwankwaso Galadima. This Galadima is the one that goes on TV all the time, trying to talk as if he knows the problem of Nigeria and is going to solve it. He's already said that Tinubu is over for Tinubu. I don't think he's saying that anymore. And the entire Kwankwasia faction for the MOU betrayal, and ratifies the original party logo, which is the basket of fruits. You have March 25, Kano suspension amid APC overture. So 4 NNPP as National Assembly members were suspended by Kwankwaso faction for APC ties. They rejected APC leaders. Okay? Now, so there's a problem with, NNPP, there's APC, there's also the Kwankwaso guy and the Kwankwasia movement. April 3, 2025, FCT High Court dismisses Kwankwaso. Kwankwaso is in a lot of trouble right now. September 25, defection rumor swiss. Kwankwaso denies that. And I know that this guy went to visit Tinubu. This guy was in Aso Rock sometimes this year. And they've always been saying it's going to defect. We don't know what will happen. Now, October 22, Kwankwaso warns defectors. Kwankwaso vow political consequence for leavers in 2027, denies internal crisis on October 23. October 23, rather. November 12, major defections. Jibrim to APC, Ogutoibo to PDP. Wow. And this is a Kwankwaso ally that was expelled from NNPP, now rejoins APC. As well. November 11, that's this month, NNPP secretary accuses Kwankwaso of betrayal. And then here we are, 12, Ali Koki dumps NNPP, 13 reps reaffirm loyalty. So it still kind of have people that are loyal to him. November 15, this is where we are now. The faction opposes Kwankwaso's Congress, and now they're working on a solidarity visit. We'll see what happens, because really, you can just come into a party and want to take over the party without even you entrenching your root in that party. That's the same problem if I want to link it with what Peter Obi is having right now. And that's why the LP is failing woefully. And Peter Obi's political career is already in jeopardy. Come 2027, I don't think he will even have what it takes to sway voters. But again, that's the summary of what is happening. And how does that fit into Tinubu's agenda for 2027? They're making him have a very easy run for the 2027 presidency, except God stops him. Again, I'm not here to, to try and, make you kind of have some, some delusion or not. I'm just here to tell you the reality. This is what's happening. Like the all political opposition in Nigeria has just been short of any major achievement since 2023. Prior to 2023, the 2023 elections, there was a good showing by the Labour Party. There was a good showing by, Peter Obi. Everybody thought, oh, fine, this is the new thing. And this will be sustained. Unfortunately, that's not what we have as of today. But it is what it is. I've been talking a lot. Let me see if I can just, read
some animals
here. Okay. So this is Dumebi, right? He's trying to wade into the matter between WIKE and the military.
I have a very short statement, and I can take questions after this. On a Sunday evening early last month, one of the directors from the FCTA was denied access into one of our construction sites, simply because it was a Sunday and the security guards couldn't fathom any legitimate reason for a government official to want access to the site on a Sunday. 2 days later, officials from Development Control came and posted a stop-work order on our gates. Another 2 days later, Minister WIKE himself visited the site, and at this point, all my workers believed Tsunami WIKE was going to rain havoc on us. I was very clear I had all the necessary documentation, which I forwarded to his office and received a simple, "I'm sorry, but my people gave me wrong information." End of matter. Speaking on this odoriferous saga between Minister WIKE and Officer Yerima is extremely difficult for me because it's another example of a very vocal minority having their say and their way. Everyone tries to avoid this vocal minority, especially when they are baying for blood. And in this case, they finally believe they have the minister where they want him, defenseless. Today, I weep for Nigeria because we are becoming a nation of people fueled by hate of anything government. The righteous indignation of this vocal minority calling for the minister's head is simply unacceptable to any right-thinking person. They have let their hatred for this man who is perceived to be a bully and the president's bulldog becloud their judgments. The question I've asked my friends, both civilian and military, is if the narrative would have been different if a different minister was involved in this drama. Absolutely yes. We will all see the fact that the minister was provoked into calling the officer a fool, and the officer was also provoked into calling police officers bloody policemen. Where is the same righteous indignation that police officers in their uniform were called bloody policemen by the same military officer? None. Why? Because the same hatred most people have for the minister is the same hatred they have for the police. The minister was there in his official capacity as the chief security officer of the Federal Capital Territory, and as a representative of the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
I don't even know why it's so difficult for people to kind of understand that it's not complex. This is very simple. This is really, really simple. And we just deceive ourselves when we say we want a new Nigeria, we want a better Nigeria, we want Nigeria that works for everybody. If we really want a Nigeria that works for everybody, if we really want a good Nigeria, then you're not going to take one aspect that benefits your own emotions or your own thought pattern and leave others because it doesn't fit the narrative. Again, maybe WIKE is a bit loud. We can talk about that. But basic civility and basic fact implies that the military guys were the ones at fault here. It's clear as day. Like I mean, it's up for you to say. Like I read the comments, I read what people are saying, and again, because WIKE is naturally obnoxious to a lot of people, and you have to deal with that. I mean, you have to deal with that because then that taints your own, your own imagination or your own theory. Because how dare you be the person defending WIKE against this military guy? Like, WIKE is my political enemy. WIKE is someone that I detest so much. But right now, in this instance, it was clear as day. Is that how you have the rule of law? Is that how you have a democracy, which I don't know, most people even say we don't. But again, it is what it is.
He was there because his staff had been prevented from carrying out their legitimate duties by a commissioned military officer who was obeying the orders of his boss, a retired general who no longer had a commission. Can a retired general without a commission give an order superior to that of a serving minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria? Does the military code of conduct supersede the constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
I wonder.
On an aside, where was this righteous indignation of this vocal minority when soldiers shot some policemen returning from election duties in Anambra State a few days before this incident? Again, because of hatred of the police, nobody cared. The Minister of Defense, who has rushed to issue a statement criticizing his colleague, was mute when this happened. What a shame. Because of hatred of Nigeria, nobody cares that foreign terrorists are taking over our land. Because of hatred of the president, nobody cares when there are rumors of coups. Because of hatred of the police, nobody cares when the police are regularly assaulted by the military. Because of hatred of Mr. WIKE, nobody cares when a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria is humiliated while carrying out his official duties. Because we hate ourselves. Nobody will care when tomorrow this same military will trample on your rights because you have told them that in this animal farm called Nigeria, all animals are equal, but some animals are more equal than others. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. God bless you all. Again, it's very simple. We all have to accept that we're in a civilian dispensation, a democracy. That's what we claim we're operating. And if we're truly operating that, that means everybody has to subject themselves to the Constitution. The Constitution is the interconnect for all of us. It supersedes everything else. You cannot claim in a civilian dispensation, in a democracy, that military code of conduct should supersede the Constitution of Nigeria. You derive your powers as military officers from that same Constitution, and you cannot abuse that Constitution.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. I'm happy you're bringing up these points, and I will say this very quickly. The officer kept on saying that he had orders from his boss, a retired general. He was not there representing Nigeria, the president of Nigeria. Let's be very, very clear on this. Number two, I find it absolutely appalling that the minister kept said not once, not twice, you're foolish, right? But I do understand that in the heat of the moment that he was provoked, just like you saw the officer saying bloody policemen. Now my question to Nigerians is that where is the same moral indignation that they're saying bloody policemen? You cannot treat them differently. If you want to address that the minister said fool or foolish, he must also say, how did you call policemen wearing uniform also representing the same president you're calling? Not so, that they call bloody policemen. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
Why that got to me so much is that if you experience military rule, and for those of us who were part of the Aluta movement, who were student union, part of student union, and how we were brutalized by the military, anytime you hear that word bloody, you feel trauma, you feel a sense of trauma like I feel right now.
Now, the problem is that most people, most Nigerians, and the politicians also use it to their advantage, is that we have a very, very short memory, a very, very short cycle of remembrance of havoc that people have done. You know, like I see that there is a kind of a clamor for the return of the military officers. In fact, people would say, oh, look at this African country. You have a very young soldier that has taken over power. And then say, look at this other country. You have a very young soldier that has taken over power. And we stand with that soldier because they don't understand that Zimbabwe that has been destroyed today, when Mugabe took over, it was also a young soldier. Most of these people, when they take over, they're always celebrated. Then it gets to a point, you know, that it becomes an issue. Okay, now I should shut up because I don't know the atrocity WIKE is committing. That's not the question. That's not what I'm even saying. What I'm saying is this: you can hate him for all it's worth. The truth of the matter is, in that instance, a former force official or a former military official has no right, okay, to grandstand against an appointee of the current government. If there's a case, there's a way to, you know, get things done. There's a way that you can actually address your grievances. The problem we have is that most times people just end up putting emotions into stuff. You don't need to like the guy. Okay, you don't need to like WIKE, and I'm not asking people to like WIKE. And that's just it. But I'm saying that in this instance, WIKE is wrong, and I mean it. Sorry, the soldier is wrong, and I mean it. I mean it. Is that I don't want things to work, or we just want to be playing?
You don't want to hear anything called bloody. That bloody civilian, they call us. You don't want to hear it. So you can see that that thing is still in them when you say bloody policemen. If they said bloody policeman to a policeman wearing uniform, carrying a gun, what of you, defenseless? What happens to you? That is why we should all speak to the issues and not speak to personalities. Because when you speak to the issues, you can see what the facts are and we address the facts.
Yeah.
When you say that Mr. WIKE was provoked and his reaction, and that officer was also provoked and his reaction when he said bloody policeman. So if you look at the fact that they were provoked in a heated situation, then you can now start looking at the facts properly. But when you start choose WIKE said fool, and you leave that someone said bloody policeman, how do you do that?
Again, I mean, that's my own opinion. I don't know if you can always say maybe WIKE is loud, or you can say WIKE is this guy or that, is committing a lot of atrocities. I mean, there's the issue with the land that he allocated to friends and families and all that. Again, I'm saying that get your facts straight, bring it out in the open, call him out for it, take him to court for it. Oh, they won the court, so you're not going to get justice. Okay, what goes around comes around. It's going to live there one day. But the fact that you have an individual that just stays in his home and then puts a soldier there, knowing well that all these things put together, they're in the wrong, then what are we talking about? I'm just saying.
The same people that did this line are the same people seeking to take back government by revolution. The same characters. And they are without remorse, without answering questions. The same characters are the ones now seeking to take back a government after they left this kind of mess behind, with the amount of indebtedness they caused the country. So for me, temporary shutdown of services, following track instability near to.
So this Akpabi is talking about Amechi. Amechi was the Minister of Transport, I believe, during Buhari's tenure, and I don't know whatever that guy did. I mean, the all 8 years was even a disaster. Okay, let's go.
As of April 2023, this current administration had not even come into power. So we already had a failed project before we came here. By December of the same year, a lot of derailments are taking place. By 2024, you had Owalero derailments. By July 2024, derailment near Ujefu. Am I right? Ide in Delta. By August, 1 month after, another disruption caused by mechanical faults. You spend trillions on rail line. You commission it, and within 1 year, you have all sorts of mechanical faults. We have to find out whether they were actually new ones or whether they were the ones that were discarded. It's almost like going to an airport. You see a lot of planes that are no longer in use. And somebody will go and paint it and put new seats and sell it, and then it comes. After you finish pouring water on it, like Air Nigeria, a Vamus,
Okay.
or Vamusis. Air Nigeria, I saw when water was being poured, when Air Nigeria, 2 of the planes arrived. But I've not seen Air Nigeria enter Air Nigeria. What happened? As chairman of preparation, you will know what happened. Because so I don't know what happened. I'm still looking for Air Nigeria till today. After the fanfare, the same thing happened in this rail line. It's a very serious issue.
Yep.
So the lives of Nigerians are involved. The economy of Nigeria is involved. So we look at the prayers.
Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Couch.
I'm gonna move on because I think it's just unfortunate that those that I'm seeing, out there wanting to to take over power don't even understand what it takes to lead or what it takes to actually do what is right. But it is what it is.
Senator Ningi, you've spoken before. Maybe I should. Oh, okay. Suggest so that there's no other prayer.
No. Prayer.
Investigation. Yes.
I like the first comment here. It says criminal probing criminals. Criminals versus thief. The railway was built by your same APC government. Yeah, 100%. Civil want to probe somebody. The money Amechi stole for your party that put a character like you in the position you are, probably because it's not in your party again. Wicked leaders. This man was a minister in the previous regime. Yet he's saying what he's saying. So sad. I wish Trump should. Oh, now we want Trump to investigate. That wouldn't happen. Okay. Akpabio, are you a saint? Akpabio is also guilty of the same thing. One of the main reasons why he moved to APC was also he was having serious issues with corruption, and with the last leaders. And that it is what it is. You know, it is what it is that these guys don't even have what it takes. But this is where we are. But the question I keep asking people is then what will the opposition do? The opposition has also entrenched this level. In fact, all these people we're calling opposition were at some point also with the ruling parties. From Messiah Obi, it was also in PDP. Okay? So let's not deceive ourselves and say, oh, we have oppositions. There are no oppositions. Because they believe in the same thing for the most part.
My prayer says, conduct a full-scale investigation through public hearing on the general situation of our rail lines in Nigeria. Conduct a full-scale investigation. No. It has to be a general one. It has to be a general one. Because this is an opportunity to make the issue a Nigerian issue. So, full-scale investigation.
Okay.
Through public hearing on the general situations of our rail lines. So whatever.
Again, I love the fact that they want to do an investigation, but I hate the fact that they always announce an investigation when the key person in charge is no longer in the party, or with the key person in charge has fallen in favor out of the ruling group of the day. Because at times you see people in the same party, they want to do an investigation is because possibly the guy has become more like a rebel or is no longer towing the line that has been set for them. Okay, so who's gonna probe who? Because everything links back to APC anyways.
How do you want to couch it so that we can call for secondment?
I believe that the recommendation of distinguished Senator Ningi is in order, but I'd like to possibly extend it so that it clearly covers the past, and I believe the borrowing, the cost, and the specification should be clearly stated in the resolution that we are passing. And then the future should also be covered. Where are we going with the maintenance and development of the rail line? So that the investigation looks at the rail situation in its totality, so that when they finish, we have a comprehensive report on the rail line system in the country.
So you suggest that we should set up an ad hoc committee to undertake full-scale investigation
Yes, sir.
into the situation in the country in view of the consistent derailment and dangers to lives and properties.
Yes, sir.
That the Senate should set up an investigative panel that will call for public hearing, and then, of course, and also call the players, both past and present, to interrogate and come up with a comprehensive solution on why we are having the teething problems and at the same time the way forward. I think that's what they are trying to say. Yes, any second?
Yes.
Senator,
The corporation to immediately fix the problem so that that line will now become operational. Then the investigation will follow. Yes.
because the major issue now is to restore service, to restore the rail system so that it begins to work. Very, very important.
Okay.
So then you have to mandate the NRC to make that line operational, and then investigation will now follow. Full-scale investigation to unravel the performance of the rail system.
Any seconder to that?
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, my name is Senator Joel Onuabo Thomas. I represent the good people of Delta South Senatorial District. Mr. President, I second the first motion, which says that another committee is set up to thoroughly investigate.
The first motion is the motion of the Deputy Senate President calling on the Nigerian Railway Corporation.
I hope Amechi is getting his lawyers together and trying to also, get his own defense. Yeah, I hope he's trying to get his defense. Because the guy comes out and talks to civics, he's saying there was a time he was saying that he has never stole one kobo from the government, and he himself was laughing because he knows. Yeah, he knows what he's done.
Okay.
To immediately fix.
Okay. Okay, the first one is
along the Ojevo.
Okay.
Otakwe.
Okay, so to mandate NRC to immediately fix that rail line. I so second, sir.
Thank you. This one collects the motion, the prayers, the first amendment should now read that we should call on the Nigerian Railway Corporation and mandate them to immediately fix the current technical problem that led to the derailment on the Ojevo stroke, is it a type line? Immediately. Those in support of the prayer as moved and seconded say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So that's prayer one. Now, there's prayer two, Senator Shumule. The prayer two will now be the full-scale investigation.
Yeah, Mr. President, I write to second the amendment originally moved by Senator Nigin, except for the issue of public hearing. So if you are doing investigation, I think the committee will naturally look out for experts, those who have the know-how.
The method of investigation will not matter to us, but the major thing is private hearing.
The opposition person in one time in Nigeria history, now part of the ruling party, doesn't want them to open their behind in public. Why are you scared of a public hearing? Why are you scared of a public? If the investigation, it's going to benefit the people if you can actually have a public hearing. Everybody's going to be happy if you can actually have a public hearing. So why is Oshiomhole saying that they shouldn't do a public hearing? If you've stolen money, you don't want them to shame you in public?
It's an option. They'll fix it. The major thing is a holistic investigation to be carried out on the situation. And of course, it will involve members of the public. It will involve inviting the Nigerian Railway Corporation and so many others. And then if you don't make it transparent, people will think that there's a wish hunt.
Yeah.
Okay. They will think there's a wish hunt. So I think if we don't need to mention public hearing or any type of hearing, but we know that, as usual with these chambers, we must make it transparent so that the Nigerian public will be part and parcel of the investigation.
Exactly.
And so that there will be believability in the outcome.
Exactly.
I'm very regardless. So
at least we've seen investigations to the Niger Delta Commission where the guy fainted and the orderly was trying to resuscitate the guy and almost wanted to tear his mouth apart. It's all going to be a charade anyways. I don't expect anything much from these guys. But again, at least let's know. Maybe people would get some 1 or 2 contents from it. But again, we need to know what happened. Like, how dare you have a railway system done and it's not functional? And the same person wants to come back in 2027 against Tinubu. I mean, it's not as if a lot of them are not one and the same, but it's just hilarious.
So I rise to second the motion as moved by Senator Ningim, to the effect that a whole-scale investigation should be carried out by the committee of the Senate. By the committee of the Senate.
By an actual committee of the Senate. Those in support of the motion that the Senate should immediately set up an ad hoc committee to undertake a whole-scale investigation of the situation of our airlines vis-a-vis the loans collected from China and then the items brought into the country, including the implementation of the red lines across board. Those in support, as seconded by Senator Shumole, say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Senator Sharif Adin.
Okay, so Amechi is going to be investigated because it was the one that built all those rail systems. Yeah, and it leads also back to APC. Yeah, so I mean, I want to see how this investigation will go, because how do you investigate your party? I mean, your former party member is just one and the same. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, Amechi is still like one and the same with all these guys. But it is what it is.
I think we should have a time frame within which they should bring back progress report of the investigative hearing, because this is a very serious issue that Nigerians would like to hear. Yes,
thank you, Mr. President. It'll be 4 weeks.
Yeah,
Mr. President, sir. I said 4 weeks should be okay, sir. That's my
4 weeks. Okay. Distinguished Senator Ndume.
Anyway, it is what it is. WIKE should resign if Tinubu fails to publicly address confrontation between him and the naval officer. I think I saw this, right? Okay, I'm not gonna listen to this anymore. It's I've listened to him. I've heard enough from him today. It is what it is. Next, I'm gonna move on to this. Let me see.
People take positions not based on the truth, but based on what a personal agenda they are pursuing. So I'll be the first one to give credit to this government for removing the fuel subsidy, which some of us started calling for from the very first economic summit over 30 years ago. But the same president must take the blame for sabotaging the efforts to remove the fuel subsidy in the past.
It was politics. It was politics. And again, we didn't even know where Jonathan stood. Jonathan was one of those people that was looking for a donkey and then got a throne. Okay, if you know what I mean. Jonathan was one of those people that was just by divine effort helped, and he became the #1 citizen of Nigeria, you know. And when he got there, he didn't have a clue what he was doing. He was still suffering from some of the mistakes that he did. And then we had another clueless person in the name of Buhari, came into power, didn't even understand what's up. He's lived as a military man, and then when he finished his military gig, he went to his house, was just dealing with cows and all that, and then they brought him back after almost 30 years, or come and rule the people, and the guy didn't even figure out that life has changed. I started complaining that, if, you know what, I just missed the day when I was a military person because I get things done. Bro, you are now a president. Behave like one, think like one, reason like one. But he messed up big time. So again, Jonathan couldn't remove the subsidy in 2011, 2012 because he didn't even have a clue what he was doing. And then he didn't have what it takes, unfortunately. Yeah.
Across all the local governments of Nigeria, across every state government and at the federal level, the real test is what is being done with that revenue in their hands. Is that revenue supposed to be used to fuel 400 cars to escort the president to the airport and burn all the revenue in the process? Is that what you did it for? Let me tell you what the correct thing was. The real difficulty, the real action, the real results was to help to eliminate poverty. I believe in speaking the truth all the time. So you're quoting me in 2012 You can quote me in 2025, the issues will not change.
Yep.
I'm not one of those people when you're out of government, you fight against fuel subsidy. When you're in government, you advocate fuel subsidy. That's part of Nigeria's and Africa's problem. People take positions not based on the truth, but based on what a personal agenda they are pursuing. So I'll be the first one to give credit to this government for removing the fuel subsidy, which some of us started calling for from the very first economic summit over 30 years ago. But the same president must take the blame when the exchange rate moved from 8 to 1 to 18 to 1, and we had equilibrium. Under past CBN governors like my friend here, we had market-determined exchange rates largely. So that's a one-day action. You bite the bullets on the first day. What differentiates you thereafter is your subsequent actions. So those measures improve fiscal balance. They give all three tiers of government so much more revenue. And that's where the problem starts. What is the point of giving a thief more revenue if he's only going to steal it? So across all the local governments of Nigeria, across every state government and at the federal level, the real test is what is being done with that revenue in their hands. Is that revenue?
That's why they've said, talk to your governors, talk to your local government chairman. Okay? I understand where it's coming from because I'm like most of these governors are retarded. In fact, local government, most local government chairmen are less than retarded. You understand? But what do you want the president to do? Except then change the constitution. Number two, again, yeah, he has to give the local government and the state so much money because of the subsidy removal. He doesn't have any power to change that. And also, I don't even want most of this revenue to just remain at the center. Because too much power corrupts and corrupts absolutely. So if more money is now going to your local government chairman, and more money is going to your state governors, then what stops you from calling them out? Everybody's interested in what happens in Abuja. Nobody's interested in what's happening in his or her own backyard. Nobody's even talking to the local government chairman about stewardship. What do you want? Okay, subsidy is gone. More money is in. Your local government, there's been a rule now that the money should go straight to them. Kudos to, Tinubu making that happen. When that is done, then the focus should shift. So again, I criticize maybe Tinubu in the morning. In the afternoon, I go to my state governor and criticize them. And in the evening, I go to my local government and I criticize them. Then there's a balance, but people don't want to do that because nobody's going to see you. When you're calling your local government out, nobody's going to see you. Nobody's going to see you when you're calling your governor out. But everybody sees you when you're bashing Tinubu. So people would rather go for that. And that's the problem.
It's supposed to be used to fuel 400 cars to escort the president to the airport and burn all the revenue in the process. Is that what you did it for? Let me tell you what the correct thing.
So the truth is this: they remove subsidy, they don't remove subsidy, they're still going to use 400 cars to. Don't let's conflate the issue. They're still going to use 400 cars to escort the president because the security of the president is partly not just in the hand of the president. There's already those in charge. And again, most of those 400 cars, what this gentleman is not saying is that more often than not, there are other dignitaries that kind of just form a convoy together. And I'm not trying to cover him or not, but I'm just saying that this is the reality. We can see more money has been going to the state, more money has been going to the local government, more money has been going also to the executive, the federal government. Okay? But nobody calls out the state governors. Nobody calls out the local government chairman. Nobody even calls out the National Assembly. When the country was being destroyed under Buhari, let's even say Buhari is one man. What was the National Assembly doing? What were they doing that a CBN governor could have 700 houses and there was no hearing, there was no investigation? We only got to know that when Tinubu got into power.
Was the real difficulty, the real action, the real result was to help to eliminate poverty, was to get the economy functioning. As soon as you did those two things, which could be done, each of them, it takes a day, an announcement, it's your subsequent actions. In when the economic summit turned 25 years, I was in this same room. I recommended that the government then should remove fuel subsidy. I also said, but as soon as you do it, the following day, even the day before, start distributing cash to the poorest Nigerians. They all have means. The national ID card is a payment-enabled instrument. If you give every poor person in Nigeria, poor adult, 5,000 naira, and you remove subsidy, for a man who was getting zero, he's just received 5,000. So, but if...
Again, I'm not for just joining out cash to people, but I'm for helping the poor and the poorest and the poor in the society. The problem with that is that the corruption that you've now taken away from the subsidy then finds its way back to the cash distribution. And Tinubu tried that. He actually tried that, to be fair to him. He actually tried to send people cash. What happened? 500 million was being sent into an individual personal account. How do you account for that? I would rather put the money into assets and infrastructure that would help the economy to grow. We still have bad roads that have not been constructed. We still have a lot of untapped resources that have not been deployed, that resources have not been deployed to untap those potentials and all of that. So when you put all that together, I think that makes more sense than just normal give check to people. Now, at some point, I believe that the government might not need to do that, but they need to create a framework. You can't remove subsidy as at that time, the first week, and then start giving people 5,000. There was even no framework. There is no single code that we can use, more like a security code, to identify everybody. I know everything is in works now to just have one.
If you remove the subsidy, the finance minister is right. They gave, I think it was 8 million people have received transfers. What is 8 million out of 230 million?
So how many people should receive transfers? This is what killed Venezuela today. The government trying to give everybody bread, everybody stuff and all of that, trying to tax the rich. Today, where's Venezuela? In fact, as of yesterday, as of this morning, I learned that their president is trying to prepare for war, because they couldn't fend for themselves. So what they now do is they deal in drugs, a whole country. Dealing in drugs, sending drugs to the United States. It's become a mess. Same thing with Argentina. If you know the story of Argentina and look at their currency, they've even performed worse than the currency of Nigeria. Because when you give people stuffs and freebies, somebody pays for it. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't help people, and I'm not saying that the government shouldn't even give people stuff. But again, you want to limit that because people then stop working and then it becomes a bigger problem in the future.
That's where the problem is. There are countries where when they did their cash transfers, it was to all the poor people in the country immediately.
There's no country where they've done transfers all the poor people. People definitely, they misuse the system. We're all humans, even in the United States. So in the United States, 41 million people are actually on food stamp benefit. It's called SNAP benefit. 41 million people. That's a country. I'm saying help people, but at the same time, you have to put a method to that.
So I'm answering your question only, what should have been done differently? I'm not saying it's achievable in 24 hours, but these are the things that have caused the pain. And all this talk about, oh, after the pain comes the gain. It is true if after the pain, you carry out all the other supporting reforms to improve efficiency, improve government spending. People talked about trying to implement, to eliminate wastage and so on. But if after the pain, what you do is to continue reckless spending that is going on all over the nation, then that pain can go on forever.
Yeah, and Tinubu has not done a good job with spending. I'm the first person that will tell you that. He hasn't. He hasn't done a very good job with spending. Even the civil service too. He hasn't done a very good job with efficiency and also boosting productivity. I've not seen anything. Some of the ministries are trying, but a lot of them are still not doing anything.
So it's not true that gain follows pain. Gain follows pain only if you are doing the right things after putting the pain in place. And it's the same too with exchange rate. So now, we have an economic system. I'll be fair. This economy works very well for people who are friends of the government because they can invest, and when the obstacles come, they have the clout to negotiate their way through all those obstacles.
I agree.
But we want an economy where you don't need to know the government to invest here and do business. Now,
but is that not what Tinubu has done with the foreign exchange? Because then if you were not a Dangote, you wouldn't even have access to dollars. All the guys that were involved in trade, wherever they are, if you want, then you have to call your bank has to call the head office also has to call CBN then has to prioritize some individuals. And he's saying that you don't need that anymore. So he removed the foreign exchange stuff. So again, if you are into business and you're putting yourself into works right now, it's going to help you. Now, talking about the poor, that change is not going to be immediate. I'm sorry. And again, some people already have been negatively impacted because of the years of misrule such that they are stuck in this current system. Those ones we have to help. But again, I'm saying that in this kind of economy where you have deficits in infrastructure, deficit in every other stuff, then giving money shouldn't even be the priority of the government. For real, it should be creating an enabling environment, get more people into work, get more foreign monies in, get more investment done, and then that can actually help the whole country to move on. And then as that happens, more jobs are being created. As more jobs are being created, more people are being helped.
I'm not criticizing this government. This was the challenge that any and every government that took those measures was supposed to address immediately after. So I can clap for you for market determined exchange rates. I can clap for you for removing fuel subsidy. Those are one-day actions. If you want me to keep on clapping for you, show me.
Now people are saying it's easy. It's easy now. How come it was a one-day action? How come Jonathan didn't do it? How come Buhari couldn't do it? How come Buhari was borrowing to pay subsidy? It's not a one-day action. People just come here and talk and make trivial of stuff. You know, and you're not in the arena, unfortunately. Now, you have the whole right to criticize all you want, but it's not just, a one-day thing. Oh, it's a one day. Oh, he removed the whole thing. No. There's a preparation for the impacts. There's a preparation for you also ensuring that you're guiding other policies. In the first few years, it was as if this government didn't even know what it was doing with respect to subsidy removal.
The rest of your actions after those two things, because those are the things that make the big difference between investor confidence, creating an environment where people feel they can invest, you're looking after the poor, and all the supportive things that were required. So I will just stop there, but let me just warn you, Mr. Moderator. So on this panel, I'm the oldest person. So it doesn't matter what you ask me, I will answer what I want to answer. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right, sir. I will let you. Let me come to this side then. Thank you, Mr. Atadopit side.
I was arguing about.
Okay, so that's that about that. I'm gonna just move on.
But you should also not be part of it. Order.
Senator Lalong and Senator George, these people, they've been in politics for God knows how long. Like once they get in there, they don't want to leave.
Order. Senator Joel. Senator Joel. Allow the Senate to discuss. Senator Joel. This is Nigeria. We are not talking about Senator Joel.
I'm interested. Why should you say so?
Then why are you saying that INEC committee is interested? Okay, Mr. President.
This matter is very known to some of us that have been in this National Assembly for some times. And this is a very sensitive, very, very sensitive matter. I was in Wari, the city of Wari, in September. And I took time to speak to people from both divides.
Sorry, Senator Ningi, you are a ranking senator. I don't want to cut you. Can you couch prayers to assuage what you are talking about? have
I'm
prayers.
coming with because there are two points of law. One is that this matter cannot be discussed because it's in court. The other one is whether a matter is in court, can the National Assembly not be able to also discuss it and investigate it? That is the point I was trying to...
We want to have a win-win situation here. Let's couch prayer, that will put all this together to solve this issue. Because somebody would now ask, where is the court order? Where is the proof that this matter is in court?
Why...
So what I'm trying to say is that you help us, together with the leader, let's couch a prayer that will allow all those interested so that they can all be comforted.
Rather than say electoral matters, because prayer one is all encompassing, exhaustive, undertaking, investigative inquiry. Rather than by one committee, it should be by Joint Committee on State and Local Government, Judiciary, and the other
INEC. It doesn't matter. Having these two other committees, they will balance
special duties.
Even though you see, you shouldn't have brought the motion in the first case. Anyway, no problem. No problem. You can remain. We'll bring two other committees to join.
Yes.
The judiciary now will be the lead committee.
The reference, even from the villa. No, I'm saying that. Look, don't get me wrong.
Oh, okay, so.
There's a.
I don't even understand the whole context to this, and I'm gonna move on. It's just like no context, nothing, and all that. And the person even presiding is not even, just there. Okay, I'm gonna stop this stream because I just have to take some time and do one or two things. This is what it is. There is this issue, the Obedients, they found their voice back after the ass whooping that happened last week in Anambra State. They've gone back to their ways, fighting, infighting, and so on. So there's this guy that just got married. His name is Lawrence Okoro. Now, a little story about Lawrence Okoro. Lawrence Okoro used to be an Obidient. It was all for Peter Obi. And as such, he was one of the loudest supporters prior to 2023. So fast forward. This guy is from Edo State. During the governorship elections, they had a fallout because they had a different candidates. So they started tagging him as a traitor. And since then, he's been going all out to destroy the Obedient movement. What I just don't understand is this. I know there are people that have supported the APC in time past and all of those. But the guys, and this is a sincere question, really, to be honest with you. How come those guys that were formerly Obedient, when they leave the Obedient movement, they tend to become more hostile to the Obedient team? And also the same thing, they exchange is the same energy. The current Obedient also, instead of them trying to also figure out what happened or what went wrong, how can we get together? They start fighting each other. And the Obedient movement, which was really a big crowd, which was really a big movement, is now shrunk to whatever it is today. I don't even know if they have that potent power they add power to the 2023 elections. They've cut almost everybody off. So this guy got married today, traditionally. Okay? And he shared the photo with the wife and the newborn and all of those. But they've been dragging him. Look at this. Lawrence, he go to drag Obi's wife, but look at that. Invite Tinubu, I go speak on the wife later. Look at that. So this is him here saying, Mr. and Mrs. Lawrence, a few days before the arrival of our beautiful daughter. Okay? This is the wedding. My friend and brother Lawrence has tied the knot. Their marriage is already blessed. I will pray for more blessings. That's good. Okay, that's good. They forced the lady to marry the idiots because of the pregnancy. The lady is not happy at all. Okay? These are obedience coming at him. Why does it look like the bride is rethinking her life decision? And they keep dragging the guy. They keep going after the guy. So he moved from attacking Peter Obi to attacking his wife. His wife, a woman who does nothing but mind her business and glow. These charlatans do. But wait, what's this woman thinking? She looks like she's an alternative universe despite the music. Waiting Lawrence don't show her. Making her... That's what is happening. Now, Lawrence wasn't taking it. Okay? Lawrence wasn't taking it and he had to swing back. And when he swung, he didn't even reply those guys. You know who he replied? I don't know. He replied Peter Obi. Bashing Peter Obi, Mrs. Margaret Obi, she was very sweet young Akwa Ibom girl that was married at the age of 17 to a man in his 30s. She painstakingly started learning to be a wife from childhood. I wonder all she must have gone through. She's a mother of two, a boy and a girl. The boy is whatever and the daughter is, but can't conceive. Wow. This is not nice. This is what X and the internet has turned to in Nigeria. And it's quite unfortunate. The toxicity. See, Peter Obi and every person you mentioned in this street have all necessary tools to slam a court case on you and have been incarcerated for breach of right to private and family life as enshrined in your constitution. You've gone too far. People reply, you're a mad woman. When they were insulting him, you went blind. So it's Peter Obi and his family that insulted him. And then bigotry comes in. Yoruba madness. It is what it is. Okay. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. It's time to go right now. I'll try and come back later today and just cover other news. There's still some other things that I need to cover. And we'll take it from there. Thanks.